Hello, my name's Sara Medi and I am a campaigner for CND. This talk today will be about the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, what it is, how progress is measured in meetings every 5 years between the signatories, and what we should expect from the next review conference. I attended the 2015 review conference at the United Nations in New York and was due to attend the 2020 meeting, but that was postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic. To begin with, what is the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or the NPT as it is commonly referred to? The NPT came into force in 1970 following widespread international concern about the threats of nuclear weapon proliferation. It is a binding multilateral treaty with the goal of general and complete nuclear weapons disarmament. The UK is one of 5 states that had already acquired nuclear weapons before the treaty was signed, and thus is classified as an official nuclear weapons state. Those countries with nuclear weapons agreed to get rid of their arms in return for other countries not acquiring them in the first place. The treaty also makes it clear that states can develop nuclear power. 3 states, India, Israel and Pakistan, did not sign the NPT. They stayed outside the treaty framework and developed nuclear weapons. North Korea did sign the treaty but withdrew in 2003. The NPT is largely considered to be a success in achieving non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. Only 4 countries beyond those 5 official ones have acquired these weapons since 1970. But the treaty has been a total failure in getting the nuclear states to disarm. As I said earlier, the 188 signatories meet every 5 years at the United Nations for an official review conference. Preparatory committees also take place, but these don't have the same official status. The review conference of 2015 did not go well, with states failing to come to an agreement. The main reason is reported to have been the lack of agreement on a nuclear weapons-free zone in the Middle East, but I was present, and to be honest with you, there was a lack of progress on most issues. Indeed, non-nuclear states had become so frustrated with the NPT process that they had already set up their own initiative, which by 2017 had resulted in the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, or a global nuclear ban, as we often call it. This treaty was supported by over 100 countries when it was adopted at the UN, and is well on its way to enter into force before the next NPT gathering. For this treaty to enter into force, it needs 50 states to ratify it. They are likely to achieve that, but the nuclear states are not happy. They do not support the existence of the TPNW, the global nuclear ban, and it is likely that its very existence will be a point of contention in the 2020 review conference. So when will this take place? The 2020 review conference was due to take place in April and May of this year, but was postponed due to the coronavirus. The UN has tentatively rescheduled the conference for January 2021, but many are sceptical if this will actually take place. But whenever and wherever it takes place, the important thing is to make sure that the delay gives civil society and campaigners like us the opportunity to make it even clearer to our government what we want and what the world needs from this upcoming gathering. Most people are now realising that we don't want to go back to normal after the pandemic, as perhaps normal was the problem. This applies to international security just as much as anything else. The world needs a new approach, one that values multilateral treaties, one that values global cooperation, not this breakdown in international norms spearheaded by US President Donald Trump that we've seen in the past few years. The pandemic has shown just how interdependent we are on each other and how all the weapons in the world are useless when it comes to a pandemic. Now, the Npt Review Conference, whether it takes place in January next year or later, is an opportunity for politicians and campaigners to come together to learn these lessons and to make progress in making the world a safer place. A preparatory committee which took place in 2019 did not achieve anywhere near as much as was hoped. It is clear that it's going to be incredibly difficult to get the nuclear states to agree on any real progress at this upcoming conference. But the good news is there are a lot of aspects on which all the signatories are united, including a genuine belief of the importance of this treaty. This will hopefully be a solid base from which to start negotiations once the conference is rearranged. CND is calling on the UK government to do all it can to inject new life into this treaty and to go to the conference with plans for a range of initiatives which will advance international disarmament. As initial steps, the government needs plans for reducing the number of nuclear weapons that countries have. The government should support the development of a nuclear weapon-free zone in the Middle East. The government should push for entry into force of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. And of course, the government should outline when and how it will scrap Trident and cancel plans for its successor. Because after all, the NPT was designed to create a world without nuclear weapons. Ahead of this expected conference in 2021, we should all contact the Foreign Minister, let the government know that we need them to propose these concrete steps towards a nuclear-free world, as Britain has committed to doing in the treaty 50 years ago, let's not forget. We can't afford for them to do anything less. CND will be lobbying the government ahead of the rescheduled conference, meeting with politicians. We've already met with some of the civil servants involved with the UK delegation and will continue this one-on-one contact. We'll also be attending the conference whenever and wherever it takes place and holding a side meeting to bring delegates and campaigners together to discuss the problems and the solutions. We were due to have a side meeting at the UN conference this year, but as it was cancelled, we held a virtual event instead. Britain's ambassador to the conference joined us, as did Jeremy Corbyn MP, member of the Scottish Parliament's Bill Kidd, and CND's Vice President Rebecca Johnson. Around 6,000 people watched this meeting online, which shows an extraordinary amount of interest in this crucial treaty. Be a part of this campaign to make the government take this treaty seriously. Join us today. Join CND. The link is below the video. Thank you for watching.